Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back with a new video and I wanted to share a few messages with you that I've been receiving, and then I also want to do a tarot reading. So I will leave timestamps below so you can just check out what it is that you're interested in. So first, for the downloads I've been receiving, there is quite a lot of change happening right now, and what is really pushing that change forward is this rise of the dark feminine. The dark feminine is an energy that is typically underground. I would associate the dark feminine as an energy of it's almost like death. She's an energy of nothingness. In a way, it's like a black veil that can drape everything, and it has a lot of power. It's a very, very powerful energy. And this energy is now starting to rise. And what it feels like is that the main objective right now of this energy is that it is here to break down our egos. And it's here to specifically break down the egos that have been created based on the model of God. Actually, I know this is it's a bit intense, so I realize that this message is not everyone is gonna be able to understand this message, but that is really how it comes through. The dark feminine energy is an energy that has been pushed underground. She has been pushed down. It's an energy that's coming from like inside of the earth. It's coming from inside of life, but yet it holds a lot of power. And so it's almost like it's a very necessary energy for us humans to learn how to work with in the next stage of our journey. But where we currently are, it's almost as if that idea of God or the all-knowing light, it's almost as if many humans have become a bit too arrogant, and they have started to model themselves a bit too much with this light or with this God, this model of all-knowingness. And so that is what seems to be one of the first objectives of this dark feminine energy. It is to break down those egos. It's to give challenge to people that are very tied to this type of I know it all better than you mentality. And so right now you may be able to experience this within yourself, that you're becoming increasingly more aware of the parts of yourself that has been kind of modeled after this collective template. It's kind of almost like the template of right, or the template of light, the template of righteousness that is now being broken down. And so that can cause a lot of instability. It just really depends on how dependent we are upon that archetype, how much we have kind of used that archetype to paint our lives and paint our collectives. If we're very dependent on that archetype, then this next couple of years is going to be a period of a lot of instability. I was actually hearing also insufficiency. So it's going to be a period of challenge. But if we're further away from God, in a sense, if we're further away from that rightness, if we're more on the left side, like we are what was left, we always felt left out, we never felt quite right, the more you identify with that other, the one that was dark and pushed down, the more you're actually gonna feel protected by the dark feminine, and the more you're actually gonna be able to receive those messages from her. These messages from the dark feminine can be difficult to receive for a lot of people, because the dark feminine, she is very sharp. She is not politically correct. She will call it as it is. She will not be kind. It's not a kind energy, it's an honest energy, it's a truthful energy. It's an energy that does not like masks. It's an energy that does not like she doesn't like to boost any egos, you know? And so the more comfortable you are with being absolutely naked, you know, in a metaphorical sense, the more comfortable you are with your current state, your current deep state, you know, the state of you right now, the more comfortable you're also going to be with that energy of the dark feminine. So if you are in this like naked state, you know, for instance, the star in the tarot deck, if you are in this naked state, then I think that you will really appreciate the kind of the sharpness and the truthfulness of the dark feminine. But if you are very clothed, like if you have a lot of accessories on, you have a lot of armor on, you are very, in a sense, codependent on your own identity, the roles that you've been used to playing, then the energy of the dark feminine is an energy that you probably will not be able to face. You're gonna fear it, you're gonna be afraid of it, you're gonna try to run from it. And so that's something that you will probably be able to see, like in our collectives right now, that the people that they're very far away from like the earth and the core of the earth, and like standing naked on the earth in a sense. These are people that they are in complete denial at this point in time, in regards to, you know, this type of energy, this death energy. They're not seeing that it's coming, they're not feeling that it's coming. They're desperately kind of trying to in a sense cling to that old light, the old God, and hope that that old template is gonna protect them. And so you might even be experiencing the same thing within yourself. I know I had a period of time where I very much experienced that duality within myself. This was when I kind of started going into this energy of death, when I started having like my real spiritual awakening. And my ego would constantly think that things were gonna work out. You know, I would constantly be in denial of the kind of the path that I was on, that I was slowly being, in a sense, guided to step down and let go of more and more and more of my old life. My ego was in complete denial of that for quite some time. And so you may be able to experience this as well, that you have these two forces within yourself that are just like taking turns to come into your consciousness and guide you. And so that is also part of why I'm sharing this video, because I think that if I would have had this oversight, this overview back then when I was going through this myself, it would have been much easier, because then you would have been able to see like, aha, okay, now this is the template of the old God that's coming in and trying to steer my ship, and now here is the dark feminine coming in and trying to steer my ship. And so I would actually say that neither of these forces are suited as captain. You know, neither of these forces, nor the God or the dark feminine, is actually meant to be our director, our captain, as we're moving into the new time. These are kind of, it represents the duality of the old times. You know, it's like the dark feminine being the wicked witch, you know, the shadow that the men that called themselves God were not able to understand. And so that is that old war that everyone, it's kind of like ingrained inside of our bodies. And so now let's talk a little bit about what we can do when we start to feel that dark feminine energy within. There are really two paths available to us, that at least that I can see. One is the path of the child, and you will see this in the death card. If you look into kind of like the symbology of this death card, you know, it's only the child that is given the free pass. It's not the priest, you know, it's not the maiden, it's the child. And so to walk that path of the child, it means that when the death energy, when the dark feminine starts to come into our lives, we will begin to step down. It's like the energy of the child is that of innocence. The energy of the child is that of being willing to let go of whatever they have because they trust that they will be given the things that they need. And the reason that the child can trust that is because their nature is just bursting with life. You know, that's the thing with the symbology of the child. It's someone that they have not reached their potential yet. And so being a child, connecting to our inner child, it means that we're connecting to the parts of ourselves that have not yet been able to reach their potential. You know, we're connecting to the parts of ourselves that they were never successful in the old matrix. They were never valued in the old matrix. They were never seen in the old matrix. These are the parts that really represents our inner child, because these are the parts that, you know, evolution is still wanting them to express themselves and become more and grow. And so by connecting to these parts, it's almost like we have evolution in our back. We have that potential for growth protecting us. But the reason why many people aren't able to really connect to that inner child is, of course, that they're refusing to kind of let go of their old roles. You know, they're refusing to let go of kind of like their priesthood. This is kind of like that big man ego, the know-it-all, the I am in control, that I'm just going to force this to happen, I'm going to make myself do this. That's all of that. And then it's the maiden. And this is the one that is so kind and healing and gracious, and she's so helpful to everyone. It's kind of like she's so self-sacrificial to everyone, which means that everyone feels good around her. And that is how she is protected, kind of in the old matrix. But when death starts to roll in, neither of these two archetypes are protected anymore. You know, they're not going to survive that transformation, because it's kind of like they're built on this codependency, either taking too much in the role of the priest, the big man, you know, taking too much light, taking too much importance, or in the role of the maiden is like taking too little, like giving too much. So they're both slightly imbalanced. But a lot of people are very connected to these archetypes still. And so that is, of course, why a lot of people will feel a lot of fear when we are kind of being pushed, being asked to let go of these archetypes and start to move towards our inner child, which is going to feel like just a black hole for a lot of people. Because like I said, this is the part of ourselves that we're not going to see it being represented in our current collectives. Other people in our lives are probably not going to be able to fully mirror or understand or hold space for this part of us. You know, it's something that is there that is really, really unique to us and our purpose and the reason why we are alive on earth today. And so it requires this inner strength to be able to actually release and step into that role of the child. And so not everyone is going to be able to muster this strength at this point in time, and this has very much to do with their culture, you know, the culture that has been ingrained into them. And so that's where we will see that different people will go different paths. Some people will be able to go the path of the inner child. Other people will actually go the path of Christ. And so the difference really between the path of the inner child and the path of Christ is that when we're walking the path of the inner child, we are choosing to step down. You know, we're choosing to let go because we're not so afraid of walking into the dark. We're essentially not so afraid of walking into the realms of the dark feminine, into her womb, into hell, if you will, to find the lost parts of our soul. You know, because it's almost like to find those lost elements of the soul, we have to go all the way down into rock bottom. And so the people that are able to walk the path of the inner child, they're not so afraid to do that. And so that has to do with culture. You know, it's like culturally more accepted to just be like a life and nothing else. But the people that choose the path of the Christ, they are not so willing to step down by choice. And so their downfall, if you will, is gonna be created by people external to them. They're gonna be betrayed. They're gonna be people are suddenly gonna turn against them. You know, people that they never thought would turn against them, maybe. And that is how the people that choose the path of Christ fall down into rock bottom and essentially into this death energy. And so you kind of can say that the people that will walk the path of the Christ, these are people that are more separated from nature. These are probably people that are it's like they have a bigger problem with accepting their own shadow. They have bigger problems with seeing themselves as bad. They may be much more addicted to being the savior and the winner and the helper, and they don't really feel safe outside of these rules of being a light. And so it's almost as if for them to reach this place, this dark place of the rock bottom and this dark place of essentially the end, they have to be betrayed by someone else. And so the people that tend, or the energies that tend to walk the path of Christ and enter into death in that way, are actually people that are a little bit more codependent. You know, they need others to interfere into their journey to be able to have that full expression. And there is nothing wrong about this. You know, it's not like being codependent is a negative. Like I said, this is like millions of years in the making, and we as individuals, we were too small to be able to really change these things. And I think that if you resonate with walking on the path, mostly on the path of the child, you really see this, you have no judgment for it. You understand that it is this way. But if you're more on the side of Christ, you might have a harder time letting yourself just be whatever you are. You might still have a lot of judgment, like in your mind, looping thoughts of judgments towards yourself and towards others and towards just like, everything basically. And so that is just part of, the cultural karma that we all have. We all have different types of cultural karma, and sometimes, our cultural karma protects us. Other times it really works kind of against us, or it makes it a bit more difficult for us. But I think that it's definitely possible to feel both of these parts within yourself. Jesus is going to be the more masculine energy. So if you have a lot of masculine energy within yourself, you are likely to go that path much more. The inner child is a much more feminine vibe. It's much more in oneness with everything that exists. And that is also why, it's easier for that type of energy to just let go of everything. Because it's one with everything. It doesn't feel so much like a loss. So with all of that being said, let's jump into the tarot card reading now. First I want to pull from the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, and let's ask for an energy for the collective, for the highest good of all. What do we need to know? Interesting. The Ancient Ones comes through. Underneath the deck is Soul Retrieval and Stand Still. And also the Tree of Life. So what I'm feeling here is that this is something I didn't really mention with the dark feminine. I really associate the dark feminine with the goddess Hel. And in that mythology, it is said that the lost parts of our soul, the parts of our soul that we weren't able to ignite as children because our surroundings, our caregivers, our authorities were not able to mirror these parts of us, they go down into Hel, which is the realm of the goddess Hel. And she keeps them there frozen. You know, she keeps them there in kind of this like eternal sleep. Um, and so I'm really reminded of this when I get this soul retrieval card, because that is what I feel that we're doing right now. We are going down into her realm to really, it's almost like to melt, you know, these lost parts of ourselves, these lost facets of our soul, this new inspiration and these beautiful gifts that we're meant to bring forth and kind of into the new time. It feels as if it is these parts, these abandoned energies within ourselves, these nobodies within ourselves. It is, it is these parts that is going to bring in the new time. That's what it feels like. And so this is very much like purposeful work. It's like our purpose. The reason that we're alive is what it feels like. This type of work that actually our collectives are starting to do now with all of this death energy. And so I think that as part of this work, what you will see is that you're gonna, when you start going down and when you start losing things, you know, this death energy starts to come and work on you and starts to force you in one way or another to let go of your old identities and your old codependency and all of those old ways. When that happens, what you may start to find is that you will start to connect to these ancient spirits in your dreams, or if you meditate, even better, because then you're gonna establish a bond with these guides very quickly, much more quickly, and you'll be able to learn from them much more quickly through kind of like your quiet moments. And you don't have to sit still to meditate. For instance, walking in the forest, you can do washing up, you know, driving if it's like a boring long drive, doing gardening work, anything that is kind of becomes a bit meditative are things that you can do to start to get your mind into that frequency of receiving guidance. Let's also pull some tarot cards from the Hush Tarot. The World, wow, that is intense. And then Temperance in the reverse, actually. It came out upright, but it fell in the reverse. So there's something here about that. There's something here about creating a more optimal environment for these new parts of our soul. Another thing that I've experienced a lot during this period that I've been going through of kind of retrieving more and more pieces of my soul back to myself is that in addition to these helpful guides, you know, like these past lives that are actually helpful and supportive and feels like they are here to, you know, be on my team kind of, there has also been a lot of other past lives energy that are absolutely not helpful. You know, they are really here to break me down. In retrospect, I realize, though, that they were not really here to break me down, my essence, my soul essence. They were here to break down the parts of me that I identified with, but that was actually not me. You know, like I said, the priest here and the maiden, these parts of my ego that at that time I was not aware that this is not like connected to my soul. Like these are codependent programs that I'm just looping in because it's just something I've taken on from my culture, from the people around me. And so that's something that you might be able to experience as well within yourself, that you're going to feel like in one way you're being attacked by these like ghost energies or these like darker spirits, past lives energies. But if you can realize, if you can start to question whether these energies are just attacking a part of your ego that you're actually meant to let go of, I think that that might actually be helpful. Because if you realize, if you see that, yes, this part of me, this part of my ego, it's not actually like the truest sense of who I am. You know, if you can see when and where you kind of took it on and for what reason, you may be able to see that it has protected you and helped you for a while, but you may also start to realize that, but maybe now it's time then to just let it go. And so that's something that actually make these ghost energies, these like negative spiritual influences that are creating a lot of insecurity and fear within us, realizing that they're just here to kind of strip us from our old ego is actually what like makes you immune towards these energies. They won't bother you anymore. It's like they don't come as much, and if they come, you straight away realize that, oh wow, okay, they're here to show me that I'm not meant to run this part of my old program. Like, I'm meant to connect deeper to my soul in this moment and pull in another facet of my soul instead. And for me, realizing this has really created a lot more peace, you know, a lot more temperance within like my energetic space, to where I don't feel this like push and pull, this like dark and white all the time, where in some situations I feel really good and I feel like I'm really able to channel for my soul and really step into my truth. But then after, I will feel a lot of anxiety and a lot of, you know, if you recognize that feeling, then you might be dealing with something of the same. So let's see if we can have anything else here. The Three of Cups coming out. And then let's see, on the back here is the Knight of Pentacles. Interesting. I don't know why they want to be shown like this. It's the two sides of the coin, is what I'm getting. The two sides of the same coin. So the Knight of Pentacles, oftentimes, it is a card of stepping down, right? You see in the Rider-Waite that, or I don't know if you see it in the Rider-Waite, but at least he's stopping in the Rider-Waite. In some decks, he has actually gotten off his horse and is standing on the ground instead of being on his high horse. And so the Knight of Pentacles is that moment of starting to connect more to our inner feminine, to the dark feminine, to the parts of ourselves that our past ego has been overlooking. And so for some of you, I feel, yeah, for some of you, I feel like you are doing that. That is like maybe the main part of your consciousness right now, that you're in this place where it's like the world is opening in front of your eyes and you're starting to see a lot of things that you didn't see before. And there's also something here with the Temperance, that you're starting to see that there is some tweaking that you would benefit from in your world, creating some kind of new balance. But then you have the other side of the coin, and these are people that I feel you've already been through this point. You've actually already been through that point of stepping off your high horse. I'm hearing it came early on. It's almost like you didn't create such a big ego from the beginning for this group. It's like because maybe of experiences in your childhood or things like that, you were afraid, I feel, of that fire energy a little bit. Like you didn't want to ride the horse, so you're riding the goat instead with the rabbit. So this is really kind of like that dark feminine vibe I'm getting. This is someone that they are not at all dualistic in their mindset. You know, they're not thinking in terms of good and bad. This is someone that they can sample everything. You know, they can they're not, they're kind of like not, um how can I say it? They're not controlled by morality. They don't have a very strong sense of morality because they're just so innocent. And so they can walk right into hell and they will just find their way. They can sample things on the way, try things out on the way. They can be really like vile and nasty and rancid, but it's always, the reason why they can do that is because they're always in tune with the highest good of all. And so sometimes, you know, it's good to be dark and nasty and vile and have access to that deep dark power. Other times it's uncalled for, it's completely uncalled for. And so I feel that this group of people, they aren't that religious in that sense. You know, they don't need religion to orient in reality, because I feel like they're very much tuned into that inner child. And this means that they're also not so judgmental. You know, they see the shadow in everyone, but they also see the innocence in everyone. You know, they see the potential in everyone, but they also see like the downfall in everyone. So this is someone that they're kind of already a little bit outside of the like the black and white and duality and the 4D. They are starting to move into this new path right now, and it seems very fun. Like, it seems wild and fun to me. And with this rabbit jumping next to that woman with her goat there, it feels like it's gonna be a path of abundance as well. Interestingly, on the Knight side here, the Knight of Pentacles, you see that there is a key inside these hands there. And so I'm almost feeling that you may be feeling, if this resonates, if you resonate with being in this group, it's almost as if you may be feeling hopeless, or you may be in a position of actually praying, you know, praying for guidance, praying for light. But it's almost as if you already have the key in your hand. So let's actually pull a card on this, because I feel like this group of people, they're gonna find their own way. And I feel like they are feeling more and more liberated the more this group of people are actually stepping down and starting to become aware of their inner shadow. You know, the things that they didn't see. That really liberates this group of people, and they are really starting to step into abundance. And like I said, these people are not judgmental, so they do not judge the Knight of Coins people. They understand it. And so I feel like the Three of Cups people, they don't really need that much guidance, because like I said, they're just gonna follow their own innocence and find their way through that. But then let's pull one card for the group of the Knight of Pentacles here. Ooh, a lot of cards coming through. Ace of Cups underneath the deck. So open your heart more. Don't be afraid to be small or to be vulnerable, is what I'm getting. I'm going to show you these two cards first. The Moon and the Sun. Sun in reverse though. So I think that you see the new light coming. Like, you see your new self, who you are gonna be in the future. You see that state. Again, like in the rider weight, you know, the sun is also on horse. There is this child on a horse, right? So I feel like you see yourself being able to connect to your inner child, to that innocence in the future, but it feels like it's not quite here. you may not feel like you're able to actually channel it in the moment. And so I think that for some of you, daydreaming about it is exactly what you need. Allowing yourself to just create new neural pathways first, like in your private space by yourself, and just daydream about these experiences of innocence and just like openness and play and joy that you want to experience in the future. That's what I'm getting. And then let's look at the other cards. This is good. Nine of Swords in reverse. So this is going to help you doing that type of moon work, lunar work. It's going to help you to step out of anxiety. Like I said, it's like there is less reason for these external attacks to come onto your person if you yourself are stepping into this energy of the innocent child more and more and more. If you yourself are willing to step down, you don't need to manifest other energies to take you down. You know what I mean? So it becomes easier. And then let's see what else. One more card. Page of Cups. Yeah. So, like I said, there's still a little bit of it's like you're not quite channeling that energy of the inner child right now in the moment. There is still some residue from the old timelines in your sphere. But don't worry, and I don't think that you are that worried necessarily, especially not when you're by yourself in your own space, because I think that when you do that, you see that it's possible. You see that it's coming in. I need one more card here. I'm feeling, yeah, Ace of Cups as well. So a lot of Cups energy, a lot of, and the Moon, a lot of feelings are guiding you now, I feel. Anything else? The Star, wow, yeah. You're being heavily guided right now, if this resonates. Oh my God. The Devil. Taking off the mask. That is the final thing I feel that really separates you from this place of innocence. The Ace of Cups and the Page of Cups. You know, this is kind of like putting your own energy forth in a very innocent way. You know, feeling safe to state what you want to the world. You know, to be yourself and to show yourself and to be like, you know what, this is what I want. I'm going to show it with my entire being, with my innocence, that this is what I want. I'm feeling that you're so close to reaching that state, actually. You're so close to being protected by the dark feminine, if you resonate with this. And I think that once that happens, it's almost as if you're going to start to encounter more of these people as well. The people that they're already like, they're kind of like riding on the energy of the devil, to be honest. It's like they've overcome it. And it's almost like once you overcome the devil, once you overcome the demons, once you overcome the dark, it's like they become your pets. They become your pets. You're bigger than them. They follow your light. You're their portal to heaven, to the new life. And so it's almost like the dynamic is fully changing within yourself, your inner state, your feeling state, your anxiety. Everything is gonna start to just melt away. And I think that you're gonna be able to be in the world in this very innocent way, where you're not gonna feel the need to, in a sense, accessorize so much. You know, you're not gonna feel the need to try so hard to get what you want. You're just gonna be in tune more with what is available for you, and then you're just gonna pick and choose from that and step forward with innocence and say, yeah, I want that. That's what it feels like. Wow, I really love this. I think that we're moving into such fun times. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna end it there. I hope that there was some interesting information for you here. So take care. Bye.